This is an April 2025 recap. I'm just going to be covering the trades I took this month. As you can see, I netted 7.03 Rs on the month, top left. My trade win rate was 75%. Profit factor was 2.59, and my day win rate was around 72%. And just looking at the month, it does look pretty good, when in reality, it was not that great. So just starting off and just recapping the main problems I have this month was on this Thursday, this week 4, and the 29th. Every single one of those days, I exited my trade early, especially week 4. Every single trade I took here, I could have closed for a minimum of a 1 to 2 RR, but just looking at this, 0.41, 0.75, and 1.14, that is not great. And it was pretty much the same thing on this 3rd, for April 3rd and the 29th. Same exact thing as that week, but that was the main problem I had this month. Pretty much everything else was pretty much in my plans, right? Tuesday, had a good 1 to 2 RR trade, break evens, willing to lose this, right? Everything else, like the 9th and the 14th, so the 9th and the 14th, those are trades I actually closed well. 30th, I hit the first trade, lost the second, pretty much a 1 hour day. But every other trade was a bad trade, in my opinion. Although they were winners, only problem I had was I could have held for longer, right? If I was to hold to my actual take profit, which did all end up hitting on this week, I probably would have netted at least around 12 to 15 R, which is kind of crazy, right? But no, I decided to close early for some reason on those days. Now, those are pretty much the 3 trades I want to highlight this month, starting with the 23rd. As you can see here, it was me pretty much targeting the open low. I was shorting off a higher volume profile formation, right? We were pushing up. We broke trend, retraced, and I was looking for a short. Pretty much got in top tick, but what ended up happening was I closed it due to the fact that we had a 5-minute close looking like this, or a 15, I mean. But what ended up happening that day was price did end up flipping to the downside, sadly, as you can see here. We did end up breaking this low and pushing past open low, making new lows for the day. The second day, or the 24th, it was a buy setup this time, right? I noticed we were trending upwards on the 15-minute, 5, and the 1 minute. You can see here, this was my entry. I was aiming for the 200 level. That's around where I was looking for an exit. But if we look farther out, which you can't see here, I was targeting an overnight high. So what ended up happening was, ended up closing the trade because we didn't push all the way that we wanted to, right? I didn't get the immediate push up I wanted. But what ended up happening was there was really no signs for me to exit the trade. I kind of just exited just based off price action, when in reality, if I was to look at my indicators and trust my trading plan, it would have hit. As you can see here, I exited early entries. My stops were at this low. Definitely could have targeted the 200s, as you can see here. 19206 was taken out, which was my initial TP. That was the main problem I had. And this third day was a really big day I missed out on, right? As you can see, this was my entry. It was pretty similar to the same trade I took on the Wednesday. Pretty much the same exact thing. And what ended up happening is, although we retraced all the way back up to where price pretty much entered at, right? As you can see on this 15 here. Oh, not that chart, but the 15-minute time frame here, I was entering at this retrace off the 15, and I was targeting this low. And within the same candle, it would have hit, right? If it ended up retracing before sweeping this low, if this candle on the right side, this big one, was to happen before, then I would say that was a good exit, right? But we swept the low before we even got that push back up. And even then, price still ended up flipping back downwards, taking new lows. So that was a pretty bad day as well. mostly because I couldn't capitalize on any of the trades I took, right? And just looking at the losing trades, pretty normal. And that's pretty much it for April, right?